welcome. My name is Jason Day, and I'm a product designer at Atomic Robot.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Leopold, and I am an iOS developer here at Atomic Robot. And Jason, I'm really excited about this collaboration we're about to talk about here today.
Me too, me too.
I'll just fire up my simulator here. The short version is that I built a watchOS app to help me really keep score during my son's baseball games. I'm a coach. I'm out there on the field, and we do not have scoreboards on the field. And many times in the game, I'm wondering what the heck the score is, so I can figure out how aggressive we should be running the bases. Um, and so I just built this little watch app that can keep score. Let's see if I can find my simulator here. It is. So yeah, you can easily do the batter count and the number of outs. If you hit three strikes, it will tell you it's a strikeout. It'll reset the count for you. Four balls is typically a walk. And if you hit three outs, it will tell you it's the end of the inning and will update the half inning for you. You can keep score. So we'll bounce through a few innings just so we can see what this looks like. You can undo if you forgot something or accidentally scored a run. And then the last screen that I have built here is a simple scoreboard view. And as the number of innings increases and it fills up the horizontal space, it will actually scroll so you can see all the innings here. And then once you finish the game and go to the next one, you can easily reset the game and start over. There's also a way to edit the score, but we're not going to talk about that too much today. So this was the little app that I built. And Jason, you kind of came to me and had an idea of a collaboration of you maybe building a design component for a phone, and then I could implement it and we could kind of go back and forth. But as I thought about it a little bit, I'm like, hey, I've got this app. It's in the App Store that I just kind of designed myself. And I am no designer. I'm not a designer. I will say that many times over. And I thought maybe you could take a look at it and see what we can improve on.
Yeah, so when Jonathan shared this with me, I was really excited because I had just did some watch designs for another product I was working on, both for iOS and Android. But what was particularly excited me about this was Jonathan had also uh, reminded me that Apple had a new feature update on the watch.
Yeah, that's right. Back in June, Apple had what they call WWDC, is the Worldwide Developer Conference, and this is basically a an Apple conference for nerds, which is a little different than the iPhone announcements that they make. This one is solely dedicated for developers and talking about the new SDKs and operating system versions that come out for Apple products. So they talked about and introduced watchOS 10, iOS 17, iPadOS 17, macOS Sonoma. But specifically to watchOS 10, they kind of changed some of the user interactions for how their navigation views work. And I kind of pointed that out to you, and I'm like, it'd be cool if we could add that or implement that in this app.
Yeah, so I learned something new. I learned about the new feature and kind of how to design for it, and how the interaction changed from the way it was. So it was pretty cool to design around that and just learn a new way of interaction on the watch.
Yeah. So you want to take us through
Yeah,
your designs at
yeah,
this point?
definitely.
Cool.
So I'm gonna walk y'all through. I just basically, when Jonathan shared with me the app, I just took screenshots of all the screens I could find that he had, and just one of the things designers do when they're trying to recreate something is we just want to break everything down into bite-sized little components, right? So you start with the colors, the basic stuff, the icons. Try to find as many SF symbols or uh, close to the icons as we can get. And we had to make some new components specifically for that update that Jonathan was talking about. And also, while I was thinking about this, was some accessibility stuff. Like this gray, it was a little bit light and it didn't quite pass contrast ratio standards. So just made some small updates. And as I was going through it, the app that I was previously working on had like this kind of menu, if you will, or a home screen rather, and it just kind of gave an overview of what was important in that product. And so I thought that might be there might be an opportunity here to do that. So I thought maybe we could include the batter, the score, and where the game was at inning wise, all on the opening screen. So that's kind of what I did was I just went through all of his designs, which he says he's not a designer, but I think it looks pretty good to me. It works. It's functional. Before I even touched it, I knew how to use it. So I think that goes a long way. But basically, we just built these little pieces, and then we started adding them together. And the two tutorials that we built before this, that we recorded before this, just kind of walks you through these two different screens here. The home screen, which he did not have before, that I just talked about, and then the where's the other one? Here we go. The batter screen, where it talks about the balls and the strikes and the outs. So that's basically it. And we talked a little bit about prototyping. And Jonathan and I just collaborated to make sure we're on the same page with interaction, because I had missed a few things and needed to get like updated on how things actually worked, because it was a new feature for me.
Yeah, and to touch on the design aspect, one of the reasons I actually enjoyed working with a watch app is because the design constraints are much more limited. You have a much smaller screen, and watchOS kind of says, "Here's what a button is supposed to look like," and there's not a lot of space to work with, and so I was actually pretty happy with how it turned out. But I think in contrast, you felt a little limited in what you could do creatively.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much real estate screen wise to work with. It's pretty. The guardrails are very narrow, so there's not a lot of wiggle room to be creative. But the creativity, I think, occurred just like with interaction and like this overview screen and my knowledge and history of working with accessibility standards. Like changing the font color to black instead of white, just reverse what he had, just to make it a little bit easier to read. But that's pretty much all I did. And then we also changed to like for the visitors, whoever was up to bat, whether it's home or visitor, like that row is now highlighted, so you can like at a quick glance you can see who's up to bat. And the same thing for this kind of like overview of the score there. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and it's always a challenge to work with, whether it's like a whole website page for desktop, and then making that small to mobile, and then you have this whole other platform of a watch that is its own challenge all on its own.
Yeah, I was, excuse me, I was really happy with how it turned out. Should we do a quick overview of the final product then?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay. What am I sharing here? The whole screen? We just want to share this simulator here. Okay,
Perfect.
so yeah, like Jason said, this is the new home screen, and it's using a component in watchOS that's called a navigation split view. And the
Uh-huh.
component itself is not new, but they changed kind of the interaction and the transitions and animations between the screens and how you can interact once you're inside this navigation view. So if I tap on the batter button, we'll come back into just our what we call it's the batter count view, and everything works pretty much the same. But now instead of kind of swiping left to right, the digital crown. So I'm going to simulate moving the digital crown here in the upper right. You can see that allows me to navigate between the screens instead of having to tap and drag. And you can still tap and drag, but this was something that they really touched on when talking about watchOS 10 at WWDC this year. And then this menu button will simply take us back home. And you can kind of see, I don't know how all the animations will show up in this video, but you can kind of see how it kind of turns that button and makes it full screen. So yeah, so this screen, like Jason said, we kind of changed the font color to make it easier to see and read. We made some minor adjustments to these buttons. Whoops, too fast. We changed the
Nice.
background color of this screen to add some contrast. Moving over to the score screen. Oh man, it's hard. The simulator is hard to like do one screen at a time.
Sure.
Not much changes here. The team currently up to bat will have the blue background on the button. The other team it won't. So it's just a little easier to see who's up to bat. This is what is this called? This is called the background scene view.
Mm,
So when your watch kind of first goes into that sleep state, um, many times apps will give you like a snapshot of what you're looking at, and so that's kind of what we did here. So this is the background scene. When I wake the watch back up, it looks the same. And then coming into the scoreboard view,
nice.
this believe it or not, this one gave me the most headaches for the whole thing. That it looks easy, that gray bar just kind of highlighting the team that's up to bat. And I can change it to visitors so we can get a look at it.
Nice.
I redid this component 2 or 3 times to try and find the best way to get that bar there, because getting all these scores and these numbers aligned in a grid was really complicated. And then what I had done originally was everything is in like a vertical grid because the widths were fixed. But when you're in a vertical grid like that, then they don't touch horizontally, and so it just looked like a bunch of numbers with gray boxes that were disconnected from each other, and that did not look good. So I went through a couple iterations of this, which was kind of interesting, um, but eventually got it working.
Yeah, it looks
And that,
great. All the transitions are so smooth. I really like how it scrolls and transitions to the menu, and the kind of carousel there for the innings looks really good too. So I know it was a challenge, but it looks really good. I will say, in Figma, it was also a challenge to make that responsive and functional. So it wasn't just hard in code; it was hard in design as well. And it doesn't look like it's a like much, right? It's just some words and numbers. But when you have like grids like that, like a table, it brings up some unique challenges to work around.
yeah. What's interesting is there is a table component
Oh,
in Swift UI is the toolkit that I use to build this. However, it's not available on the watch.
oh
So if
gosh.
you want to build a table on a phone, you're able to do that, and you can get control over those rows, but not on the watch. So I kind of had to do some custom code here. And then just a plug for watchOS in general. I was at a softball game this weekend, and I was using it, and
Nice.
using the crown to rotate through the screens was actually really nice. Like it's one of those things. It's like a really simple change, and you're like, oh, that seems pretty minor, but um, as far as improving usability, I was really happy with it. So overall, I was super pumped with how everything turned out here, and just to show the home screen again, everything updates in real time. So if you're on the home screen, you get one glance at the whole game, really.
Awesome. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you sharing this product that you made and allowing us to kind of showcase it and both kind of sharpen our skills a little bit.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then just a shameless plug. These You can download this in the App Store. It's called How Many Outs. So if you search How Many Outs, and you'll see it. It's currently watch only because I don't have my phone on the field, and I didn't care. But yeah, it's a watch app, and it's available on the App Store, and it supports watchOS 10. So download all those things.
Yeah, go for it. Go to the App Store if you got a watch and you need some baseball or you just want to toy around with it and test it for yourself and learn something new. It's free to download. So, and we would love, I know Jonathan would love to hear some feedback, and we would too, Atomic Robot. So, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, just feel free to hit us up. We love to learn from everybody. So, yeah, just shoot us out questions or comments, and we'll try to answer them the best we can.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks a lot, Jason, for collaborating on this app here. I had a good time and absolutely learned a couple things working through this with you. So it was awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you too. All right, everybody. I hope you get a chance to go check out the tutorials that we had. There's two of them before this. I know we didn't really walk you through anything on this as far as how to make it, but we just kind of want to recap everything that we did. But we really appreciate you coming out and taking a peek at some of the work we did, and go check out those tutorials, and maybe they'll help you out with your next watch app.
That's right. Good luck, everybody.